I'm Scott Hamilton, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review. I finally got a chance to check out Synchronic. Go ahead and preface this that I am a huge fan of Moorhead and Benson. I love their movies. I've watched them more than once, and I've been waiting over a year to watch this ever since I heard they were making it. Had a decent-sized budget, filmed in New Orleans. They had Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan star in it. I really enjoyed it. The short version, as I'm doing in these new reviews, really liked it. I was expecting something a little more dense. I had recently rewatched The Endless Spring to get in the mood for this, and I was expecting a little more dense on the endless side of things, and it's a bit more mainstream in focus, more like Spring. Although it's done a little differently. The movie starts, now we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. If you don't want to know any more, just watch this movie and let me know what you think. It's an intelligent thriller, sci-fi thriller. Starts off with a hallucinogenic opening for the first few minutes of people taking a new drug, a new street drug. And then we're kind of thrust into one of those like procedural type movies with two EMTs who are seeing kind of a outbreak of this drug's use in the city of New Orleans, and people are dying, and they try and get to the bottom of it within their job limits, but then one of them's daughter disappears, so they want to know more and get deeper into it. And then by the second half of the movie, it becomes more of a straight up sci-fi flick that's intelligent, has some interesting things to say and consider, and winds up with a very heartfelt ending, actually. This is one of their more effective movies. I love these two guys who make these movies. If you haven't watched any of their stuff before, I would highly recommend it. Aaron Moorhead, Justin Benson, they just come at things from a different way. Not so much a Cronenberg or a Lynch, but definitely on that side of things where they just make movies a little bit differently. And it's not that they're hard to digest, but they do leave things open to interpretation. They show you enough to make you understand and be into what's going on. But you can, a lot of what happens in their movies, you can make up your own mind about until they just kind of hit you over the head with a plot twist or something. And rewatching Spring, that was a really good movie that more people should see that. It plays like a summer romance that's kind of a horror movie. Guy loses mom, goes overseas on a trip, meets a hot girl, has a romance, and weird things start happening. Then their movies Resolution and Endless are kind of connected into this universe they've created that they actually star in. And The Endless was a story of two guys who escaped a UFO cult, two brothers, and went back to it to kind of get closure, and weird things happen. And boy, do weird things happen. So then they made Synchronic. This is completely different than anything they made before. Like I said, it starts off as a procedural. These two EMTs are seeing that this new drug is being used on the streets. Anthony Mackie is great in everything. And he must have been filming Marvel stuff at the time because he is just super buff. It's a little bit different role for Jamie Dornan. Bearded, tousled hair, Family Guy. Anyway, I don't want to get into too many spoilers because it's best you just experience the movie on yourself. This is not a $100 million sci-fi blockbuster with A-list stars and a CG finale. It's not that kind of movie. It's a character piece about people, what drives them, what motivates them. There's a character in the movie who's always wanted to do more with his life, and he's given the opportunity to. And at the end of the movie, would you do what he does? Say it's a sacrifice. Would you? And I find movies like that fascinating, that explore the areas and decisions like that and the ability to do that thing and whether or not you do based on previous experience, your life, what's led up to that moment, whatever. Like I said, the guy, Rotten Tomatoes has got a good score. The playlist called it sci-fi at its best. It's a critic's pick on the Times. A lot of critics liked it. I liked it too. I will say it's not for everybody, but if you like a good, thought-provoking sci-fi movie that's got some decent special effects, really good. I thought the effects of what happens when you take the drug. Not to get too much into it, but as it says on the back, it could have something to do with the flow of time, and not just a drug trip. And that's why the movie kind of segs into something else in the second half. I found it highly entertaining, very interesting, definitely up to par with anything these guys have done, and probably their most mainstream, biggest thing they've done. Watching the extras, they talk about the fact that now having a budget, they get other people to do things for them. They didn't have to do every single thing. On their previous movies, they did everything except for like the music. They did the special effects, they did the directing, the producing, the writing, all of it. And now with a budget and some movie studios behind it, they actually made a movie, in a little more indie Hollywood kind of way. It's a good flick. I'm glad I waited to see it. It's been on Netflix, I think, for a while, but I waited till I could get the Blu-ray. And I liked it and can't wait to watch it again. I thought the performances were really good. Directing was really good. Their first 15, 20 minutes of the movie, the camera does not stop as it goes from the hallucinogenic stuff into the procedural stuff. The camera, I noticed it because it was just impressive. They had never done that much at one time. It was almost like they had toyed with the idea of maybe doing this all in one take kind of thing that we saw in 1917 and other movies. And it's not so much that, but the opening, especially, it feels like one long take, and the camera is in constant motion, and it's very well done. Makes you feel surreal, hallucinogenic as the characters do, and the effects of what's happening to them. So check it out, Synchronic. It's available on Blu-ray. It's available on streaming services, and I highly recommend all their movies if you're looking for something different. I've had a few friends check this out since I've been checking it out, and they all like the movie on various levels. It gets my highest recommendation. Check it out. Synchronic, available now. I'm Scott Hamilton. My website is therockfile.com. Please like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for listening.